particularly malignant, boot-slitting specimen of the London slavey. As to your practice, if a gentleman walks into my rooms smelling of iodoform, with a black mark of nitrate of silver upon his right forefinger, and a bulge on the right side of his top hat, to show where he has secreted his stethoscope, I must be dull indeed if I do not pronounce him to be an active member of the medical profession.
I could not help laughing at the ease with which he explained his process of deduction. When I hear you give your reasons, the thing always appears to me to be so ridiculously simple that I could easily do it myself, though at each successive instance of your reasoning I'm baffled until you explain your process. And yet I believe that my eyes are as good as yours.
Quite so. You see, but you do not observe. The distinction is clear. For example, you have frequently seen the steps which lead up from the hall to this room.
Frequently?
How often?
Well, some hundreds of times.
Then how many are there?
How many? Well, I don't know.
Quite so. You have not observed, and yet you have seen. That is just my point. Now I know that there are 17 steps because I have both seen and observed. By the way, since you are interested in these little problems, and since you are good enough to chronicle one or two of my trifling experiences, you may be interested in this.
He threw over a sheet of thick, pink-tinted notepaper, which had been lying open upon the table.
It came by the last post. Read it aloud.
The note was undated, and without either signature or address. They will call upon you tonight, at 7:45, a gentleman who desires to consult you upon a matter of the very deepest moment. Your recent services to one of the royal houses of Europe have shown that you are the one who may safely be trusted with matters which are of an importance which can hardly be exaggerated. This account of you we have from all quarters received. Be in your chamber then at that hour, and do not take it amiss if your visitor wear a mask. This is indeed a mystery. What do you imagine that it means?
I have no data yet. It is a capital mistake to theorize before one has data. Insensibly, one begins to twist facts to suit theories, instead of theories to suit facts. But the note itself, what do you deduce from it?
I carefully examined the writing, and the paper upon which it was written. The man who wrote it was presumably well-to-do. Such paper could not be bought under half-a-crown a packet. It's peculiarly strong and stiff.
Peculiar, that is the very word. It is not an English paper at all. Hold it up to the light.
I did so, and saw a large E with a small g, a P, and a large G with a small t woven into the texture of the paper.
What do you make of that?
The name of the maker, no doubt. Or his monogram, rather.
Not at all. The G with a small t stands for Gesellschaft, which is the German for company. It is a customary contraction like our CO period. P, of course, stands for papier. Now for the EG. Let us glance at our Continental Gazetteer. Eglinitz, here we are. Egria. It is in a German-speaking country in Bohemia, not far from Carlsbad. Remarkable as being the scene of the death of Wallenstein, and for its numerous glass factories and paper mills. Well, my boy, what do you make of that?
The paper was made in Bohemia.
Precisely. And the man who wrote the note is a German. Do you note the peculiar construction of the sentence, "This account of you we have from all quarters received"? A Frenchman or Russian could not have written that. It is the German who is so uncourteous to his verbs. It only remains, therefore, to discover what is wanted by this German who writes upon Bohemian paper and prefers wearing a mask to showing his face. And here he comes, if I am not mistaken, to resolve all our doubts.
As he spoke, there was the sharp sound of horses' hooves and grating wheels against the curb, followed by a sharp pull at the bell. Holmes whistled.
A pair by the sound. Yes, a nice little brougham and a pair of beauties, 150 guineas apiece. There's money in this case, Watson, if there is nothing else.
I think I'd better go, Holmes.
Not a bit, Doctor. Stay where you are. I'm lost without my Boswell. and this promises to be interesting. It would be a pity to miss it.
But your client...
Never mind him. I may want your help, and so may he. Here he comes. Sit down in that armchair, Doctor, and give us your best attention.
A slow and heavy step, which had been heard upon the stairs and in the passage, paused immediately outside the door. Then there was a loud and authoritative tap.
Come in.
A man entered who could hardly have been less than 6 feet 6 inches in height, with the chest and limbs of a Hercules. His dress was rich, with a richness which would in England be looked upon as akin to bad taste. He carried a broad-brimmed hat in his hand, while he wore, across the upper part of his face, extending down past the cheekbones, a black vizard mask, which he had apparently adjusted that very moment, for his hand was still raised to it as he entered. From the lower part of the face, he appeared to be a man of strong character, with a long, straight chin suggestive of resolution, pushed to the length of obstinacy.
You had my note? I told you that I would call.
Pray take a seat. This is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson, who is occasionally good enough to help me in my cases. Whom have I the honor to address?
You may address me as the Count von Kram, a Bohemian nobleman. I understand that this gentleman, your friend, is a man of honor and discretion, whom I may trust with a matter of the most extreme importance. If not, I should much prefer to communicate with you alone.
I rose to go, but Holmes caught me by the wrist and pushed me back into my chair.
It is both or none. You may say before this gentleman anything you wish to say to me.
Then I must begin by binding you both to absolute secrecy for 2 years. At the end of that time, the matter will be of no importance. At present, it is not too much to say that it is of such weight it may have an influence upon European history.
I promise.
And I.
You will excuse this mask. The august person who employs me wishes his agent to be unknown to you, and I may confess at once that the title by which I have just called myself is not exactly my own.
I was aware of it.
The circumstances are of great delicacy, and every precaution has to be taken to quench what might grow to be an immense scandal and seriously compromise one of the reigning families of Europe. To speak plainly, the matter implicates the great house of Ornstein, hereditary kings of Bohemia.
I was also aware of that.
Our visitor glanced with some apparent surprise at the languid, lounging figure of the man who had been no doubt depicted to him as the most incisive reasoner and most energetic agent in Europe. Holmes slowly reopened his eyes and looked impatiently at his gigantic client.
If your Majesty would condescend to state your case, I should be better able to advise you.
The man sprang from his chair and paced up and down the room in uncontrollable agitation. Then, with a gesture of desperation, he tore the mask from his face and hurled it upon the ground.
You are right. I am the king. Why should I attempt to conceal it?
Why, indeed. Your Majesty had not spoken before I was aware that I was addressing Wilhelm Gottsreich Sigismund von Ormstein, Grand Duke of Kassel-Felstein and hereditary King of Bohemia.
But you can understand. You can understand that I am not accustomed to doing such business in my own person. Yet, the matter was so delicate that I could not confide it to an agent without putting myself in his power. I have come incognito from Prague for the purpose of consulting you.
Then pray consult.
The facts are briefly these. Some 5 years ago, during a lengthy visit to Warsaw, I made the acquaintance of the well-known adventuress Irene Adler. The name is no doubt familiar to you?
Just give me a moment to look her up in my index. Let me see. Born in New Jersey in the year...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.